LAB. With me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to this LouieTeeNetwork exclusive. This is a quick video that I wanted to come back and follow up with. I bet you thought I forgot. I told you that I would have a react video to the poll that I put out about a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks now, asking you what did you want to see happen most in 2023. I gave you a bevy of options to choose from, and I must say I am so proud of you guys. Like a proud papa whose only son finally made it. I am so proud of y'all because I wasn't sure when I put this poll out. In my mind, I had a preconceived notion of what you guys were going to actually say and what you were going to choose. And I was disturbed by how many people had already interacted with me and said, hey, I want to see Eric Bieniemy be the next head coach of this team. And, you know, a lot of times you don't hear from all the people who are rational because a lot of times they're lurkers like myself. So those people who think rationally don't always speak up. You know, they just kind of stay in the background and play it cool. And the people who are, you know, outside of the box thinkers are the ones that like to be the loudest. And that's usually the Kirk Cousins' trash crowd. He needed to be out of here. Anyway, I digress. Let me get off of my high horse. And I know you're probably fussing at me right now. But in any event, let's take a look at the poll. This is the most successful poll I've ever conducted. I want to thank each and every one of you who participated. Over 1,000 votes. So that is tremendous on your part. Let's take a look at the results of this poll. So this is 12 days ago, as you can see. So by the time you're seeing this video, it's probably more like 14 days. So 2 weeks exactly. What would you like to see happen most in 2023? As you can see, over 1,000 votes. And I gave you 5 options. Team wins 10 games, makes the playoffs, and wins a game in the playoffs, and Rivera gets extended. All right, that was the option number 1. Team wins 9 games, just misses the playoffs. Rivera fired, but Bieniemy, because of the offense taking a massive step forward and being the catalyst that drove the team to 9 victories, he's retained as the head coach. But Ron Rivera is fired, and much of his staff is gone as well. And there are changes that are being made. You're probably in that scenario going to end up with a new GM as well, more likely than not. Who knows? I don't know if Ron goes, does his whole team go with him, or does the GM stay and Bieniemy just continues to work with the guys that are here? My guess is they probably would make wholesale changes outside of Bieniemy. But again, I digress. We'll just go with the premise that Bieniemy is here. We don't need to worry about all the particulars. Team wins 7 or 8 games. That's the Rivera special. Missed the playoffs. Full reset, new GM, head coach, etc., etc. So clean house. We start over from new, and that includes everybody, right? Everybody. In that scenario, though, maybe Hal gets a chance. Maybe they bring in another quarterback. You don't know, but there's a lot of uncertainty with that option. Team bottoms out. Howell and offense struggles. And they reset everything. Full reset, GM, head coach, the whole 9 yards. Also, quarterback is involved in this one where you're definitely drafting a quarterback and hitting the reset button there as well. And then finally, Howell establishes himself as franchise QB material, but still not enough from the head coach. And thus, he is fired. The GM position is then turned over, but the next group comes in and they have seen that Howell is legit. Like Sam Howell goes out, throws for 31 touchdowns, 4,327 yards, only 8 interceptions. I mean, he's killing it. The offense is scorching red hot, and the defense is the catalyst. The special teams let us down in a couple of games, and that's why this team wasn't successful. But Sam Howell has established that he's a legit starting NFL quarterback, and the next GM isn't even questioning that. He's not even looking and searching for a quarterback. He's coming in here and kind of picking up where Ron and company left off, specifically at the quarterback position, and moving forward from there. So those were your options, okay? I'm so proud of y'all for choosing to win. A lot of you want Rivera gone. And even in the comments that I read, a lot of you wanted Rivera gone, but you were willing to sacrifice Rivera sticking around to win 10 plus games, to make it to the postseason, to win a game in the playoffs, and allow that to be the catalyst to drive Rivera to getting an extension. I'm proud of y'all for that, because you put your pride aside, you put your ego aside, and you said, no, I want to win. I'm sick of this shit. Let's find a way to make it to the playoffs and do some damage when we get there in 2023. And again, if you're getting to the playoffs, winning a game, the likelihood is Sam Howell is establishing himself in that scenario anyway. You're not going to make it to the playoffs if Sam Howell isn't any good. You're not making it to the playoffs with Jacoby Brissett as your quarterback. He may have to play a game or two during the season to get you there, but you're not winning big in 2023 if Sam Howell isn't the quarterback under center doing the damage. So I love that 68% of you chose this option. And not to diminish anyone that chose any of the other options. That's why it's a poll. You all have your own minds. You think the way you want to think. But to me, I love that you guys, because I was expecting, if not number one, and I didn't know if it was going to come in first or not, I thought number two was going to be second on the list with, the team wins 9 games, just misses the playoffs, Rivera gets fired, but Bieniemy is retained. I thought a lot of you would have selected that one, and I thought that would be the one that would get 15 to 20% and lead the way for second place. I am pleased that a number of you decided to go against that theory, because I was gonna come up here, wag my finger at you, chastise all of you for blindly running into this Eric Bieniemy blender and just not knowing what this guy, because we have no idea what Eric Bieniemy is as an offensive coordinator on his own, and we also don't know anything about Eric Bieniemy as a head coach. Joe Judge. You know who else sold me? The first time I heard him speak, Joe Judge did that. So I can't. I'm scarred from that whole scenario of Joe Judge coming in here. You know who else sold me a bill of goods? Albert Hainsworth. That introductory press conference when he came in here talking about wanting to be one of the greatest of all time, it sold me hook, line, and sinker. You know who else got me? Robert Griffin III. So I'm scarred by just listening to people talk. I'm scarred. You got to show me now. I'm no longer easily persuaded, and I'm no longer gullible and green and wet behind the ears. My breath doesn't smell like Similac. I need proof. So I'm proud of y'all for not just falling into the Eric Bieniemy trap. Yes, we're excited. Yes, we think he's got a chance to really show the league that they done messed up. But make him show us first. Let's not just dive into the Eric Bieniemy deep end and drown, right? Let's make sure that he's the right man for the job. But I think above all else, a lot of you would have voted elsewhere, but the 10 plus games winning in a single season, something we haven't done since 1991, and the allure of making it not only to the playoffs but winning a game was too much for you to turn down. I think ultimately that's what got a lot of you to vote for this, not Ron Rivera, and I'm fine with that. I have no qualms about that whatsoever, because at the end of the day, it's about winning. And enough of you cared about the thing that matters most to select the first option, 68% of you. In second, Howell establishes himself as a franchise quarterback. So this is the crowd that says, look, I don't really give a ham sandwich about Ron and the rest of this crew. They can go. As a matter of fact, I want them to go, but I want Sam Howell to once and for all put this quarterback discussion to bed, find us a franchise guy so we can move on and start to build around a franchise quarterback. I don't have a problem with that. To me, I think you guys got it right in terms of the order that you've picked. I think I would have gone in the exact same order. Number one is, to me, you take 15 steps after number one to get to number two. But number two would be out of this season, because number one, Sam is going to establish himself in that season. If we win 10 plus games, make it to the playoffs, Sam has established himself. So you're getting the same thing. The difference is Rivera's gone in the last instance. And in the other one, we make the playoffs, so Rivera is going to be and win a game in the playoffs, so Rivera is retained. I like Ron. Y'all know that. I only don't like Ron when he turns into Ronald. But I'm giving him the benefit. There was a lot on his plate. So it's a new day, new regime. Let's see if we can get Ron to be Ron and add to his 3 winning seasons in 13 years, right? Let's make it 4 in 14, right? So I would have chosen that one first. I would have chose Howell establishes himself as franchise QB material second, just like you guys did. And team wins 9 games, just misses the playoffs. Rivera fired, but Bieniemy retained as head coach would probably be my third option because I told you I'm human. I'm not afraid to admit it. I'm afraid of wholesale changes because of what that could mean for the organization. And it may be the best thing for this organization that they clean house, get rid of Rivera, Marty Herney, Martin Mayhew, and company, and start anew. That may be ultimately the best thing for us. But you know what? I'm afraid of that because that's a lot of change at once, and I don't know what that's going to mean for the roster. So, and I definitely don't want to be looking for a quarterback next year because that means Sam didn't pan out. And I'm all in on Sam, and I really think he's got what it takes to be a big-time QB in this league. So, I think the 3 options that you guys selected, win 10 games, make it to the playoffs, win a playoff game, Rivera extended 68%. Excellent choice. That would have been my number 1 choice. My number 2 would have been Howell establishes himself as franchise quarterback material. If that happens in a season in which Ron doesn't get it done, we just fall short, whatever the case may be, and we have a new GM and head coach, so be it. But as long as Sam Howell establishes himself, I feel really good. And then the team wins 9 games. If they do that, again, the likelihood is Sam established himself in a 9-win season. More likely than not, again, all bets are off. You never know what could happen. But in a 9-win season, that probably bodes well for Sam finding a way to pan out. And we just missed the playoff. Rivera's not here, but Bieniemy stays. That means you get continuity with Sam going into the second year as being a starter with the same offensive coordinator, the same offensive mind, and a little bit of that, a little bit of that rapport that gets built this year carries over into next year. That's what you want. The last thing you want to do is have Sam go out, throw for 4K, 30 touchdowns, and only 8 picks, and then pull the rug from under him next year and give him a whole new setup. Head coach, offensive coordinator, all of that good stuff. But that could realistically happen. So, anyway, I digress. I thank you guys for participating in that poll. I bet you thought I forgot and I wasn't going to come back and react to it. I'm so proud of y'all. Pat yourself on the back. Even those of you who voted for Bieniemy becoming head coach, pat yourself on the back. And I told you, in this environment we've created, I want everyone to feel comfortable speaking their mind and speaking their truth. I may not agree, but as a buddy of mine once said, and an old friend of ours once said, on this channel where we may not agree, but the admission is still free. So we're not going to always agree. We're family. We're going to have our disagreements, but at the end of the day, we still family. And I appreciate y'all wholeheartedly. Anyway, that's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on this Louie T Network exclusive, reacting to the poll results. You guys were awesome. I look forward to chopping it up with you guys on Monday as we come back from the weekend. Enjoy. Take care.
Louie.